Welcome back to News 12 New Jersey. My name is Nicholas Sarmiento. Shortly, we will switch to a segment covered by our international consultant and specialist, Sean Paul, who will be discussing soil degradation in North America. Over to you, Sean.
Hi, I am Sean and I want to talk about today's issue of soil degradation. Soil degradation is the decline in soil condition. This is a result of many factors that I will talk about today, including soil exhaustion, soil salinization, soil erosion, and soil desertification. These problems are caused by bad agricultural practices, climate change, and more. Let's move on. I want to start with soil erosion. Soil erosion is the removal of trees and other plants that help stabilize slopes in soil. I want to provide you with this statistic. Now, I have a statistic here. It's soil erosion rates in the U.S. from 1982 to 2007. Now, keep in mind, my information that I'm providing today is specific to North America. Here are the national totals. We have of tons of per acre per year. We have 7.3 tons per acre per year in 1982, 6.9 in 1987. In 1992, we see 5.7. 1997, we see 5.0. 2002, we see 4.9. And 2007, we see 4.8. These are the overall totals, and we can see that they have been dropping overall. That's a good thing. But in the places where it really matters, where agriculture is at its highest peak, we see not so good national or not so good totals in these areas. We see in the southern plains 12.5 compared to 7.3, 11.7 compared to 6.9, 9.8 compared to 5.7, 9.6 compared to 5, 8.4 compared to 4.9, and 8.8 compared to 4.8. The totals overall are increased by 4 to 5 tons per acre per year. And we can see in the mountain, 9.7 compared to 7.3, 9.7 compared to 6.9, 8.3 compared to 5.7, 6.6 compared to 5.0, 6.8 compared to 4.9, and 7 compared to 4.8. We see these especially in the places where especially in the plains, in the southern plains, where agriculture is at its height. So in places that are more developed with cities and buildings, etc., we see them even less than the national totals, which is a good thing. This is the track that we should be on. We should be on the track to have soil erosion rates as low as national totals, even lower than national totals, so that our soil doesn't become destroyed. I move on. Secondly, I want to touch up on the point of pesticide use in soil. Pesticides that are applied to fields are destroying the soil as well as beneficial organisms in the soil. For example, bacteria that fix nitrogens and organisms that break down soil are being killed. I want to explain this statistic. Now, this is pesticide use in California in pounds, in million pounds actually. I want to start with the title. Overall pesticide use is at its historic highs. As of 1993, or even a little bit before it, we see 180 million pounds of pesticide used. Now that's already a lot to think about. Over time, they have fluctuated. They have decreased, they have increased, they have decreased, increased. But overall, we see the increase in millions of pounds of pesticide used as of 2015. Pounds of pesticides used were the same in 1998 at 210 million pounds of pesticides used. They have decreased as of 2017, which is a good thing. Again, this is the track that we need to be on. We need to decrease the pounds of pesticides used in our soil. However, this is as of 2017. We are in 2021 now. As of 2021, we can probably say that pesticide use have most likely not decreased or possibly have increased slightly, which is not a good thing. Again, overall pesticide use is at historic highs. This is a shocking statistic that we need to break down. We need to decrease the amount of pounds of pesticides used, not just in California, not just in the US, not just in North America, but in the world. There are other ways to keep pests away from your crops and your soil rather than pesticides. Pesticides have clearly been known to have damages to the soil and the beneficial organisms within the soil. Thirdly, I wanted to explain soil salinization. Soil salinization is an increase in salt in soil. Irrigation systems in farmlands that have high salt levels will cause the salt to be brought to the surfaces. When the water evaporates, the salt travels as well. However, as a result of salt in the soil and increased salt in the soil loses its ability to absorb water. I want to explain the statistic, and this statistic is very shocking. These are the soil salinization levels in Canada as of 1981 and 2011. We start with 1981. Based on our legend, we see that green areas are very low. Semi-green, but a little bit more light areas are low. Yellow, moderate. Orange, high. Red, very high. And completely white, which are most of the surrounding areas to this small area in the middle, are not assessed. As we can see here, the majority of the area is green as of 1981. This is a very good thing. That means soil salinization levels were on the lower side, on the very lower side actually. We have the majority of green, which is great. This is a good thing. We have some yellow, the smallest amount of orange, but also we have specks of red here too. However, the majority is green. It could be better, but the majority is green, which is what we are trying to aim for. However, in 2011, we see something completely different. We see the majority of the area in Canada in yellow, orange, and some red. Now, we see places that were green. Some places maintained green. We see places that were green, however, start to show in yellow, start to show in orange, and start to show in red. And this is bad. This is bad because this shows that soil salinization levels, even though it's over time, have been increasing. And I want to say this again. Increased salt in the soil will cause the salt to lose its ability to absorb water, which goes into my next point, soil desertification. Soil desertification is the expansion of dry lands in places. This can happen due to poor agricultural practices, improper soil moisture management, salinization, and climate change. I want to read what I have here. Many states in the U.S. are now being categorized as arid, semi-dry, dry subhumid, based on their climate and soil quality. These states are also at risk of desertification. I have a quote here, the mostly severely affected areas in the U.S. are now New Mexico, Texas, and on the Navajo Indian Reservation in New Mexico, and Arizona. Overgrazing, which has led to wind and water erosion, and poor irrigation are the leading causes of desertification in the U.S. And scientists believe it's unlikely these areas will mend naturally from the damage in the next 100 years. I want to kind of further explain this, this is hard to hear because these soils are becoming too dry to come back from this. So these areas won't. It's unlikely that these areas will mend naturally from the damage in the next 100 years. In the next 100 years, and this is a result of us causing the soil to be too dry, deserted, and this also relates to my point about soil salinization. These two tie together hand in hand because soil salinization is the increase in salt levels in the soil. As a result of the increase in salt levels in the soil cannot absorb water, which causes soil to be even more dry, which then again is soil desertification. As a result of excessive withdrawals of groundwater to irrigate crops and lack of aquifers to replenish this groundwater, soil is becoming more and more dry over time. Now, soil, there are dry areas that are naturally dry. So we have deserts, and we have deserts. We have places that are just naturally dry. That's fine. However, important soil that we have, especially for agriculture, for crops, for producing vegetables, fruits, etc. These places where we perform agriculture are starting to go through soil desertification, which it is degrading the soil completely. It's degrading it of its mineral and nutrient deficiency, which also is soil exhaustion, which ties into my next point. Soil exhaustion, as a result of our bad agricultural practices, soil is becoming less fertile, and soil cannot be used, is not being able to be used for agriculture through too much agricultural practices and bad agricultural practices as well. The soil is not being able to be used for agriculture. So we're generally just losing soil. All these problems that I stated today, soil erosion, soil exhaustion, soil salinization, and soil desertification, they tie into each other to create this whole problem of soil degradation. The soil is becoming degraded. And we need to fix this. Thank you. Let's help the soil. Let's not destroy it. Thank you.